Welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio with your host, K. William Spencer. This program is geared to help you see what thoughts and or beliefs are holding you back from being your best for yourself and those around you. Your life is only as good as your thoughts. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Now, here's your host. Hi, and welcome to Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. I am, as always, your host, K. William Spencer. Today, our host is, believe it or not, presently in Anchorage, Alaska. He's actually from the, I believe you said L.A. area, or Los Angeles area. Moved up to Anchorage, Alaska some time ago. We're going to let him tell you that story. He is also a country music artist. He is a pastor. He used to be a police chaplain for some 20-odd years. And as he puts it, I am just a chief cook and bottle washer. So this is Doug Briney from Alaska. Hi, Doug. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Definitely my pleasure. As part of my show, as always, Doug has something he's going to share with us, which is what he's doing now, and then we do our slingshot effect, and he's going to tell us about his transition from some point in his life to where he is now, and how he transitioned from that point, and even how he teaches, he's taught and teaches his own children. Some of the lessons he's learned in life, and of course being a chaplain, how he does this with other youth groups and people of his congregation. So, Doug, tell us, what are you doing? You're moving. Well, first of all, just going to say he is in the process right now, so if you hear other things going on in the background, he's on his way to Nashville, Tennessee. He's going to be back.
You know, that's one of the big transitions. That's the big transition that's taking place in our life. You know, we've been involved in ministry. I've been involved in ministry and church work for the past 26, 27 years now. You know, I grew up singing in churches. Was in youth choirs. Was in you know, I went to a Bible college and to learn how to do church music and be involved in that. And about 5-6 years ago, started singing in a local talent show here, sponsored by one of the country radio stations, and just kind of a fun thing to do. And the music is kind of taken over, and not taken over, but taken off, and doing real well. I released the first CD out last year, and things are just going great. And so we're making it one of those huge life transitions right now, and getting ready to move from Alaska and down to Nashville area. So that's kind of where we're at is in the middle of that transition right now. You know, that's kind of the second half of the program, as you said. But you know, we're kind of in the middle of that second half, and you know, hopefully things will go well. But you know, where we're at right now, I just resigned my church. We started the Cowboy Church of Anchorage. We started that 4.5 years ago, and I just resigned there on Sunday. I will be there for the next 3 weeks with them and help them through a leadership transition and help them organize to find someone else to come in and to replace me there and do that. But musically, it's just it's been a whirlwind this past year.
Mm-hmm. So how long have you actually been, well, let's say professionally into the music industries? I know we actually got introduced through your agent. So,
right.
So tell me, how long have you been into this?
You know, I started singing, like I said, it was about 5-6 years ago. I started singing with the K-Bear Country Idol and competing in the local competition here. And that was, you know, my first real taste of actually, it was the very first time I had ever been in a bar, other than whenever I was doing a ride-along as a chaplain and going in just to arrest someone. You know, going in and pulling someone out. But
vastly different.
Yeah, a completely different thing. And I let people know all the time, just because I'm in a bar does not mean that I'm drinking. You know, but but I do. I go in there, and it was about 5 years ago I started going in and being involved in that. And for the past 26, 27 years, my wife and I have talked about me putting out a CD and doing something musically and putting out a recording. And this whole time, I've always thought that it was going to be a gospel CD. I mean, that's I've just kind of always felt like it would be a gospel CD. And about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now, we were talking, and I said, well, and my wife is going to school right now and just finishing up her master's degree, and I'm real proud of her. And but she's finishing that degree up, and I was talking to her. I said, well, when you get done with your master's, I says, maybe then I'll take some time and I'll do a recording. And she looked at me. She says, you know what? She says, let's just do it. We've been talking about it for so long. Let's not put it off anymore. Just do it. So I said, oh, okay. And, spent quite a bit of time putting together song lists and finding the songs, and was real fortunate through the Independent Country Musicians Network, finding some good writers. I found Pat Kelly through there, and just really blessed with that, and fell in love with his music. So I started putting together this recording, and it kind of evolved, and it was just a pure country album, not a gospel CD. And I was real proud of it, and still am. I'm still very proud of it. But it was at that point, okay, now I've got the CD, and I've just finished the recording process. I'm done doing all the design. I'm done doing all the producing and everything else on it. I got to burn these CDs, and how many do I want? Okay, I'll make 1,000 CDs. And but I've been around musicians my entire life, and I know hundreds and hundreds of musicians that have made a CD, and then they've got 1,000, and they bought 1,000 of them, and those 1,000 are minus maybe 10 or 15 are sitting in the garage 10, 15 years later. And I didn't want that to be my legacy with those CDs, I didn't want to put all the time, effort, expense, and everything else and have them just sit in my garage. So it was from that desire I started, well, how do I get my music out there? How do I get rid of these CDs? How do I promote Doug Briney's music? And there again, I went on to the Independent Country Musicians Network, ICMA network, and started talking with Alan Shepard, who's the president there, and picking his brain on some of this stuff. And I started reading all the articles that I could. And it was through that I discovered, well, one of the best things that I could do is get a publicity and a promotions person, because I don't really know how to do that. Mm-hmm. And I can talk all day long, I can sing all day long, all night long, but when it comes to publicity and promotions and doing this and the industry side of it, I had no idea how to do it. And so it was at that time, that's whenever I hired Michael Stover with the MTS Management to start doing my publicity and promotions for me. And I was so pleased with him that back in August, then I signed up with him in the end of April 2012, and in August I was so pleased with what things were going. I hired him on as my actual full-time manager, and just real pleased with that. We have a great relationship, and as a result, the CDs are selling. I only have about 130 CDs left out of 1,000. Mm-hmm. On the digital side of that, in October, end of October, CBM Records decided that they would take that on and start doing all the digital distribution for me on that album. And so that started, actually, even though contracts and all the legalities and everything else happening, it took to the end of January before that kicked in, and CBM actually has been running the digital distribution on there, and we've charted on iTunes a couple different times. Mm-hmm. And so it's, when you ask me how did I make that transition, how did it happen, because of the reality that I didn't want 1,000 CDs sitting in my garage 10 years from now.
Well, I can say this much from Michael. He has Skype, but he doesn't have a microphone. He says it's broken, and he doesn't talk on it enough to justify going out and getting one. But, right. My communications with him, and this is, Michael, if you're listening, this is actually a boost for you. Actually, I enjoy talking to him because the way that I actually talk to people when they're asking, hey, can I promote my person or just can I promote myself on your show, is I have to have a feeling about the person that he is just down to earth. And that's what I really want to know. Are you a down-to-earth person? Can we have a conversation? And I felt that with him, and we also seem to have the same work ethic in the fact that I was telling him, I said, I get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, actually usually around 7 to 8 o'clock in the morning, and if I'm not on the computer at 8 o'clock, I'm usually on by 9, and I'll work sometimes till 1, 2, sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And doing that all the time, and by the time Friday comes around, it's just, that's it, the weekend's here, I'm finished. And then I just go dead. But
and he's amazing because he doesn't even die on the weekends.
I know.
Every once in a while I'll get an email from him, and he'll say, hey guys, I'm going to take the weekend off. It's my wife's birthday, or she's graduating with a nursing degree, and I'm going to take some time off just for me this weekend. And so if I'm not around much, understand, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And you text him, and it's an immediate text back. You Facebook him, it's immediate. Email him, and he's got all. He's fantastic.
I know. I was doing that with him this past weekend. It's like, oh man, we're talking, and we're not supposed to be talking, but okay, we're doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that, and I don't own a cell phone because I do all my work out of my home. So it's like somebody said, "You don't have a cell phone?" I said, "What for? If I go out into the garden, I need a cell phone." Forget it.
No. It really that's how it came about, and that's so the industry aspect of this. I've only been doing this for just over a year, and just over not much over a year, and really have done very well in this past year, and excited where things are going. Opportunities are abounding all over for me down there. And that's why we really felt like if we're going to make this happen, that's where I need to be.
There you go. Leave the cold state of Alaska to go down to Tennessee and be a little bit warmer. A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Bit.
And only for a little while. Have you read all about the mini ice age that's coming?
Well, all I can tell you is there's a lot of weather changes, and I remember last year when they had tornadoes running from the northern Midwest all the way down to the Gulf.
Yeah.
If you remember that. So there's a
lot
of stuff going on. Why?
Yeah, I was just in Oklahoma. I was actually driving from Fayetteville, Arkansas, back to Oklahoma City when the tornadoes hit Oklahoma City here. And so, I'm very, very well acquainted with what they are and how they're working down there right now.
Gotcha. So, well, I don't know. You're leaving the safety of the north to go down south, but okay. We'll look for you. We'll look for you to work it out. There's no problem.
Safety is relative. We have a lot more things that kill you up here than they do down there. You got tornadoes and bugs down there and some snakes. We've got a few critters up here in climate that is just very, very unforgiving.
I have never.
But we've been here, like I said, I've been here 22 years and living in here, and I can tell you some hair-raising stories on surviving whenever I shouldn't have, and falling through rivers and pulling myself out, and when it's 25 below zero, and freezing solid immediately, having all your clothes frozen solid, and it's just So I have cheated death a few times up here.
I hear you. I've done that a few times myself, but this is about you. Doug, why don't you do this? Why don't you introduce us to one of your songs? I know that you have this on, I think it's your website, and introduce the song to us. I'll play it as soon as you introduce it.
Okay. Well, Deja Vu all over again is just, this is a Pat Kelly song that I fell in love with when I heard it. And the thing that, to me, that I fell in love with is it's a song about people's lives and where people are at right now. I have multiple friends that, they were empty nesters. They had all their children raised. They had grandkids. The kids were out of the house. And they were thinking, woohoo, we've made it. And then something happens and the kids and their families move back in. Then mom or dad has a medical or health issue, can't be on their own anymore. So they invite mom and dad back in, and then a son back in. And I'm thinking one family in particular, they went from 2 people underneath the roof. Now they have 10 people underneath their roof. And that's what this song is about, is just, deja vu, here we go again. We're back to the oatmeal cookies. We're back to the easy chair and listening to dad's stories and smelling the pipe, and and all those things. We're back to that again, and it's a song that I think people can relate to, because we see it a lot now, a lot more in our culture than we ever did before, and and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know that it's bad or good. It just is what it is, and. We had a fun time. I took my family. We do have 4 kids, and we did a little music video for this. And my oldest serves in the Air Force in Maryland, and my daughter's down in California working on acting and modeling career down there. And we have twin boys here at the house, and we all met over in Hawaii, and it was our first trip ever over there, and we all met over in Hawaii and had a family vacation. And so some of the video, we shot a couple little scenes there, and I just kind of did a slideshow there. And then we came back to Alaska, and I'm standing out. This ought to pique your interest. I'm standing out in the snow. It's about 18 inches of fresh snow. And I'm standing out there in my sandals and my shorts and my Hawaiian shirt on, and I'm singing. And yes, it was not warm. It was not like the beach in Hawaii. It was, I think the ambient temperature that day was about 6 degrees. So, so we had 6-7 degrees. So we had a lot of fun putting this video together. It's pictures of my family. It's pictures of some things down in California. It's pictures. It's just little short snippets of video, but it's a lot of fun, and it's just a great song. Pat Kelly wrote, and I think people will identify. If they don't personally identify with it, they know someone else that's going through it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's play the song, and we'll be right back.
They got the passports and flip-flops, that island cruise is long overdue. Her son's in the Navy, daughter Jen has a baby, now it's back to just them 2. And the phone rings, it's Jen, she said I'd like to get my degree. If I get some loans and move back home, it would sure help your grandson and me. Now it's high chairs and diapers, Bonnie and friends. It's deja vu all over again. Cookie kisses and sticky hugs, rubber duckies floating in the tub, oatmeal in the baby's hair, tiny fingerprints everywhere. They're back where they've already been. It's deja vu all over again. Deja vu all over again. Grandpa's Chrysler just sits set, except for Sunday church a mile away. He called and asked about Jen and the baby again at least 3 times yesterday. Where they stopped by last week, found his pipe burning the rug. He had fallen asleep while watching TV. They said, Dad, move in with us. Now it's lectures and reruns, tobacco tins. It's deja vu all over again. Elvis records and Ernest Tubb, old fishing stories and love you hugs. Archie Bunker easy chair, flannel shirts smell everywhere. They're back where they've already been. It's deja vu all over again. Deja vu all over again. Well, the sandwich generation, caught between the young and old. they don't mind putting their plans on hold. Now they're back where they've already been. It's deja vu, it's deja vu, deja vu all over again.
Alrighty, we're back. That was really good, Doug. Thanks for sharing that with us. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your family?
Oh man, I'm happy to talk about my family. My oldest is serving in the Air Force right now, and I tell folks in my shows I do a lot of military theme songs and do a lot with that. But I have a real strong appreciation for the military. And my son, I'm real proud of him. He serves in the United States Air Force, and he's stationed there in Maryland at Andrews Air Force Base. And he's doing great there. He just got to come home here for a little bit and spend a couple weeks with us, and real proud of him. He's very much into mixed martial arts and made the Air Force team, and then they kind of disbanded that team on him. Sequesters, money problems, and everything else. But he's doing very well. And then my daughter is 19. My son is 22 years old. And then my daughter's 19. She's been living down in California since she was 16. She moved down and moved in with my sister down there. And then some good friends of ours that I had from college, they had a couple daughters, and so she moved in with them. She's now living on her own and doing very well down there. She's not had any big breaks, but she's had several small little parts, and she's done a couple billboards. So if you're driving down the Hollywood area, you might see her face up on one of the billboards. And then we have the they're 14. They just turned 14 years old, twin boys, and they just finished up their 8th grade year, and getting ready next year to be in high school. And they are wrestlers, and they just took 3rd place and 6th place in folk and freestyle, two of the 3 disciplines in wrestling. So they're doing very, very well with that, and absolutely love it. That's their sport. And we wrestled around a little bit. I always tell people, if in a stand-up thing, I'm more than equipped. But if you get me on the ground, I'm in real trouble. And so I've been working on my wrestling with them. They've been teaching me little wrestling moves, and I know enough jiu-jitsu, and I know enough hapkido to kind of apply little locks on the ground. I just have never played around rolling around on the ground, and so they're teaching me an awful lot about that. Mm-hmm. Now my wife, like I said, she's working on her master's degree in early childhood education, and super proud of her. She had an associate's degree for years, and she went back to school to get her bachelor's, and she got her bachelor's done, and she graduated summa cum laude, super laude, with all the top honors that she could. And I didn't know that you could get higher than a 4.0 grade point average, but she did somehow.
Yep, you can do it.
I graduated. I steal this from a Christian comedian guy by the name of Mark Lowry, but he was talking about his mom. I'll talk about my wife. She graduated magna super cum laude, and I graduated thank the Lordy. So that comes from Mark Lowry, but it certainly applies. And so she finished up that bachelor's degree, and she said, while I'm in school mode and while I'm doing this, I think I'll just keep going and get my master's. And she'll be she's wrapping that up in August. She will have her master's degree in early childhood, and she has carried a 4.0 the entire time, and is doing fantastic, and super proud of her. She works all day. She comes home and gets to work on her school work and lesson planning and doing her work there and her school work, and she still finds time to do laundry on the weekends. I do all the cooking and whatnot, try to take care of that, but she still finds time to do laundry on the weekends, and just very appreciative of her.
You've got me smiling over here, and I know you've never listened to my show before, but when you get me smiling, it's just, I sit over here and I'm just like, this really feels good. And the one thing that and I know you're packing over there in the background, he's on his way to Tennessee, guys. So, but the thing that actually really inspires me about you is, even from the start when we just started talking with each other, is that the one thing we did not cover, and I hope you don't mind, I don't think you do, is tell the folks how old you are. Well, okay, let's just go from, what's his face, George Carlin. You know, in our society, we're always making it feel like it's a shame to say that we're old. You know, we're just getting older. It's a shame to be old. No, we're getting old. So, you know, it's just stop pretending that it's not happening. It is. We are getting older, and, okay, I'm old. Well, that's my point of view of it. So, in other words, what I'm just getting at here is that for our listeners, I want Doug to tell his age only because there's so many people that think that, and this is the way that I was brought up, not that I actually went into this, but it's go to work, go to school, get a job, and work in that job until you retire and get your gold watch. Yeah. And we're not those kind of people. And I'm finding that most of the people that are on my show, we're not those kind of people. We just don't get up, go to job, come home, whatever your habits are, have a beer, watch TV, wait for your wife to cook dinner, watch TV some more, maybe have a conversation, read the newspaper, and then go to bed. No, we are people that like to live that life, and it doesn't stop.
Well, it doesn't, and it keeps going. And you know, I'm 48 years old. I'm 48 years old right now, and you know, have been involved in full-time ministry my entire adult life, and so this is an opportunity. It's a huge change for my family. It's a huge, you know, I'm going to use the word step of faith, and because that's really what it is. It's really just stepping out. I'm leaving what I've done my entire adult life to do something that, you know, and I can't say that it's always been my dream. You know, we were talking earlier about, you know, being a fireman or, you know, those type of things as you're growing up. And I honestly cannot say that being a country musician was ever my dream. And I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. I love performing. I love the interaction with the crowd, and I love all of that. But I can't tell you that was my dream growing up. Mm-hmm. Now, is it my dream now? Well, I certainly. I'll just say it this way: my dream is to be able to provide for my family and have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. That's my dream. And I love singing. I have a lot of fun singing. I have a lot of fun performing. I have a blast doing that. And so my dream is that I will be able to make a comfortable living to support my family doing that. And that's the dream. Now, if I can get on the ACMAs, and if I can get a #1 on the Billboard charts, and if I can, you know, can do real well, man, that's icing on the cake. Yeah. That truly is the icing on the cake. If I can make enough to keep my family with a roof over our head and food on our table, and keep them happy, and provide some of those joys for life, joys that, you know, that we'd like to enjoy in life. You know, a vacation every once in a while. That trip that I was talking about to Hawaii, that was the very first family vacation that our family has ever taken. It's the first time we ever went on a family vacation, other than to go visit relatives. You know, we've gone down to visit California and visit my relatives there, but that's the first family vacation we have ever taken. And I'd like to do more of that. Not that I'm not talking going vacationing every year or something, but I would love to be able to, you know, hey, every 5 years to do a family vacation. And you know, especially now that my kids are getting older. My oldest, you know, he's not in a serious relationship right now, but my daughter's getting into a serious relationship, and I can see the handwriting on the wall. In a few years, you know, she's gonna get married, and in a few years after that, we know what happens, and then I'm really going to start feeling old, because then I'm going to be grandpa.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah, you know, and it's, you know, that's just really just a joke. I mean, it's, you know, it just is what it is. So my dream is to be successful for my family, and successful doesn't mean rich in my mind. It means I'm already rich because I've got a great family that loves me and supports me. And my wife is crazy enough to follow me down to Tennessee and go with me down to Tennessee and leave a good job here in Alaska and leave the life that we've built up here over the past 22 years. And, you know, she's supportive of me. My boys are supportive of me. My daughter's super excited for me. My son in the Air Force is very excited for me. And I've got a very supportive family, and it's, you know, and that's the dream. If I can make that happen, I think I've succeeded.
Yes, indeed. Doug, we're going to take a quick couple of minutes here for a commercial break. If you will, the audience, would you please stay with us? We're going to come back and have Doug tell us some of his experiences. And I'm going to kind of put him a little bit on the line here, but we're still going to have fun with this. And he's going to still smile. So actually, I want to talk to him about a couple of things that he even just touched on when we come back. So please stay tuned.
I love what Maya Angelou had to say about the power of the spoken words. She said, I quote, "Words mean more than what is set down on paper. It takes the human voice to infuse them with deeper meaning," end quote. And that is the reason I made the decision to put my words into an audiobook. So please check out my spoken words in my new audiobook, Your Life, Your Way. The 10 must-have goals to improve your life. It's now available. You can either go to my website at www.coachingbyria.com and purchase it there. You can also download the book from iTunes by going to the link I provided in the show page, or simply go to the iTunes stores and put my name in the search, Coach Ria Wilkie, and you will be able to download the audiobook from there. And I do thank you all for doing so. And if you like to write a review, please do so. And I'm always grateful to be in service. Thank you.
Hi, this is K. William Spencer of Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. Come and join us every Tuesday and Thursday for enlightening, humorous, and intriguing conversations with my guest, or just a monologue of thoughts that I share, all to help you look at life and your choices differently. For more information, go to YTYRradio.tk. That's YTYRradio.tk. We're back with Doug Briney from, right now, Anchorage, Alaska. Pretty soon, Nashville, Tennessee. Our chief bottle and cookie washer, whatever, and soon to be probably top 10 or top 5 country artist. Doug Briney.
Yeah, from your mouth to the radio executive's ears and the fans' ears. How's that?
There you go. And as a matter of fact, while we're at it, if you want to know a little bit more about Doug Briney, you can find him simply by going DougBriney.com. Doug, BRINEY.com. This is easy enough to find. You can see his picture, find some music, find us a little bit of information about him there. Really great guy. Doug, you're the first pastor I've ever interviewed on my show. Mm-hmm. And for me, it is actually refreshing to talk to a pastor who's just down to earth. And yeah, you're down to earth. You talk about your family. You're telling about what your family's doing, and what your passions are. And something that we've talked about off the air, but we didn't mention it so far on the air, is just that we take life as it's come, as is given to us. And I want you to get into that a little bit. But before you go there, you said something before our break that I really want you to get into, because there is something that people used to ask me about, and my mother was always into this thing about just go get a job, have an office with a secretary, and that's what I really want for you. And it's like, that's not what I want for me. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand what real wealth is. You know, kids nowadays, it's just, I want money, I want the bling bling, as they say, and I want all the jewelry, and I want this, I want that. And that's not real wealth. Real wealth, at least for me, and you can take it from here, once I say this, is that my feeling that real wealth is something that cannot be stolen from you.
Yeah. Well, as a pastor, I would quote the Bible verse that says, store not your treasures up here on earth, where moth and thief doth corrupt and can take away, but lay up your treasures in heaven. That would be the pastor to me, but that's certainly true. I mean, Trace Atkins has done a tremendous amount over the past year and a half, almost 2 years now, raising awareness for Red Cross because of his house that was burnt down. Things, we take things for granted. We have so many things, and we put a lot of stock into those things. Think about the last car that you bought brand new. I mean, it was so exciting at first. Now, if you've owned it for over a year, it's you might still like the car, but it's just a car. It's not the latest, greatest. It's not it's not the shiniest one on the block anymore. And things are fleeting. I mean, I can't think of anything in my life as a thing that has brought me happiness for forever. You get into a house. We're looking at houses. You get into this house. We were so happy to have this house when we moved into this place, and I've done all the work, and I've been painting and getting remodeling done and everything else, and it looks fantastic. It's ready to be sold. It's fantastic, but man, I'm ready to get out of this thing.
Been there,
my truck. That. Yeah, my truck. I love my truck. It's a great truck. But man, I'm looking at some of the new trucks that are driving down the road. Mine's not all that old. It's a 2007. I'm looking at new trucks. Oh man, that's got Bluetooth to your MP3. I could Bluetooth my songs right through the radio and talk on the phone without holding the phone up to my ear, and all these things, and all these features. And my wife was fortunate; she purchased her car last year, and she's got heated seats. Now down in the South in Mexico, that might not be a big thing, but up here, I'll tell you, in the wintertime, heated seats are a real nice thing to have. They feel great. But they're all things, and after a while, the shine wears off of them, so what is it that really keeps? That really brings you the most happiness? And for me, it's my faith and it's my family. Those are the two most important things in my life. I've told people multiple times, what I want on my tombstone, what I want on my epitaph is here lies a man who loved his God and who loved his family and who loved his country. And if I could, those three things, if people know that about me, I think I've done pretty well. And so that's, to me, where real wealth is at. It's not in possessions, because they come and go. Now, that being said, would I like a shiny car? Yeah, I'd love to have a new shiny car. Would I like to? If I could have, I love to ride motorcycles, and I haven't. I've got my motorcycle for sale right now, and if I could have any motorcycle in the world and just have it, I'd have me an Indian Chief. The classic vintage, and just that bike is beautiful. But I mean, that's a $33,000 bike. Mm-hmm. I don't foresee that anytime in the future. I don't foresee that happening anytime soon. and I know the reality is after 2 or 3 years, yeah, it's nice to have the bike, but it wouldn't be the same thing now. But my family, the love that I have for my wife and my kids, that's not going to diminish, and that's and the love that they have for me, I pray never diminishes, and that's my strength, and that's the wealth that we have as a family.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Well, for me, it's to put it in a different perspective. That is, as you even said, this is my value, and value is relative to the person that you're actually talking with. There are people, and the point that actually I am trying to bring out is for people, and it has nothing to do with a religious basis here. It is just a point of people putting value into things versus something that you can take with you anytime, anywhere. And okay, even if, pardon the expression, God forbid, anything should happen to your children, you will still have those happy memories within your heart, within your mind. That is something that you can always take with you. I became a minimalist years ago when I used to move, and it was just because I wanted to move a lot. And I got tired of hauling stuff. Because every time you have to haul stuff, it's a lot of moving, a lot of expense. And you find friends that are just going, "Look, I don't mind helping you, but not all the time. Okay, stay in one place for a while." And I just finally got to a point where I just took what I needed. And it's a different experience altogether. You learn to appreciate fewer things because things are nothing more than tools.
Baggage.
Yeah. It's tools. Money is tool. And people worship money, and it should not be that way. You are the master of money, not money the master of you.
Yeah.
So you just went on that one, and I love the way that you put it, so I'm sorry, I just had to ask you to elaborate on that one. But actually, Doug, you were telling me earlier about some of your experiences from early life and how you used to travel and you went to different places. I'd like for you to, if you don't mind, cover some of that and then give some of your, I guess you say, words of wisdom from your travels and your experiences, because even with that, I can see how some of that is actually translating over into your present life in the fact that, okay, I've been here, I've done that, and now I want to go do something different in my life, which doesn't mean that you're actually giving up something. It's a transition from one to another, but not just leaving it off and saying, well, been there, done that, I'm not going to do that anymore, because you can still be the country music star and still be doing something that you really love doing all your life.
Well, we talked about a little bit, one of the things I've instilled in my children, or I hope that I have instilled in my children, is when opportunity arises for you, you take it. I've done a lot of crazy things in my lifetime. I mean, I've had a lot of fun. When I was in college, I think in college I had a good friend there that we were kind of stupid. I mean, we just, an idea would hit us and we'd do it. Another friend of ours had purchased for example, another friend of ours had purchased a hang glider at a garage sale. Now, he didn't know how to hang glide, but he got a great deal on the thing. And so me and Bill were sitting in the dorm. We were like, man, that'd be really cool to go do that. Well, neither of us knew how to do it. So we grabbed a motorcycle helmet and we borrowed the thing. We went out to a cliff and we put the thing together the best that we figured that it could go together, without any true knowledge of how it worked. And then we got all together and he looked at me and I looked at him. He says, who's going to go first? So I put the helmet on and I jumped off, Another time we bought up all the surgical tube. Now, this is the stupidest thing we ever did. We bought all the surgical tubing that we could find at Kmart. I think it was like 3 or 4 different Kmarts. And we braided this stuff together. I think it was like 5 bands of it. And we tested it with, some weight on the end. And we bounced it around to see what the stretch was and how far we'd go. But we went bungee jumping. We went bungee jumping with surgical tubing that we bought from Kmart. I don't recommend that, but, it was one of those things that's like, okay, we're going to try it, so I've got to do a lot of stupid things, but in that time, too, I've also got to do some great things. I've been to the top of Mount Whitney in California. I've done a lot of hiking around Alaska. I've seen and done things here in this state that a lot of people haven't been able to do, and they've been here longer than I have. As far as jobs and opportunities, stuff like that, to be able to see things and do things, it's when the opportunity arises, take it. You don't know that you're going to get it again, and I would much, like I was saying earlier, I would much rather end my life and say, that was something stupid that I did, than say, you know what, I always wanted to do that and I never did it. Yeah. I went parachuting a couple years ago. I skydiving, and I wanted to do that. And I told the skydive instructor while we were on the ground, I told him, I says, because we had to do a tandem jump. I had to do a tandem jump, and I told him, I says, I don't know that I'm going to ever do this again. This is expensive, and I'm not sure I'm going to do it again. So I says, well, I want to do a couple flips when we jump out of the plane. And he looks at me, he says, well, we don't usually get to do that till we're, we don't usually do that until someone's really confident and knows what they're doing, and we know that they can control the jump and everything else. And I says, look, I'm paying for it. I'm going to do it, And, fortunately the guy was a little smaller than me, but, we got up in the plane and he kept, are you sure? Are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm fine. Let's go. And, the door opened up and he's screaming in my ear, are you sure? I said, yeah. He says, okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2. And I jumped. And rather than letting him, I didn't wait to 3, and I jumped on 2. And I did it intentionally because then I went into a somersault immediately. And we did 3 flips. And then I flattened out and did exactly the way he was supposed to do it. And so, and we got to the correct altitude. I pulled the lead on the chute, and he says, I was a little quick on the count. He says, but man, you did great. And, but I was afraid that we'd do it and that he would not allow, his body would not allow me to do it. So I just kind of took him by surprise when we did it. But, stupid things like that. But those are the fun things that I've done it. And I have to tell you, really, it was fun. But it was not the adrenaline rush that I thought it was going to be. It's a very cool experience, but it's 2 different experiences. You're going so fast when you jump out of the plane. The noise is deafening. It's just a deafening roar, and then when you pull the chute, it immediately just it goes to immediate just deafening silence, and so it's really cool. But it wasn't, I honestly, and not saying it to be cool or anything, it just wasn't the adrenaline rush that I thought it was going to be. It was fun, but I don't need to do it again. If someone else wanted to pay for me to go, I'd go, I'd go tomorrow. I'd go right now. But to put my money back into that, not going to happen. But I've done it. And so take life by the horns and just go with it, is kind of my philosophy, and try it. This is a big transition for our family. Again, leaving what has been our comfort zone, and leaving what I trained for through college, and what I have been doing, and leaving the comforts and those things, and stepping out but some opportunities have come up, and the music is going very well. And I feel like if I don't do this, then I'm being very hypocritical by telling people and telling my kids to take the opportunities when they arise, if I don't take the opportunities now that they've arisen. And so I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be hypocritical on it. I don't want to be. I don't want to look back and think, wonder what would have happened if I had just made this move. I wonder what would have happened. And so it's all part of that transition, but it's a transition in occupation, but it's not a transition in lifestyle, and it's not a transition in mentality.
Doug, I'm going to actually ask you a question I had not planned on asking, but it's just going to be natural, and it's going to go right into what you were just talking about. There are oftentimes in conversations with many of my friends who, as I was talking to you off air once before, telling you I'm not a Christian, but I don't. I have this way of saying it, and it comes from a Jewish way of looking at life, is that if you are a good person, you're not hurting anyone physically or emotionally, and you are, in the Jewish quote, as long as you're looking for, I'll say it in my own words here, if you're looking for the Creator and that balance in life, and the meaning of why you're here, we're fine. We're good with you. So it's a point here of saying that I see something in you, I'm hearing something in you that it's different. I'm not saying that it's unique to you, but it's very different for, as a general quote about, I'm going to say this with Christianity, is that you are actually, because most of the pastors that I've ever met, they're about the conformity. And you're saying, no, this is the way I live, this is the way I believe, but live life. And I'm hearing this in your voice. And tell us, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit more about how that works with you in your life and with your ministry.
Well, it's real simple. For me, my faith is the guiding force in my life. My faith really is my guiding force. I enjoy having a good time. I enjoy doing these things. It doesn't mean that everything always works out right. Yeah. But in the book of John, Christ says that he came to give us a life, and a life that was more abundant. Now, the misconception, and a lot of preachers, and especially the feel-good preachers, will preach that, that's God giving us the desires of our heart and this type of thing. And man, that's bogus. That's not right. That's not, having everything is not an abundant life. An abundant life is one that's full, and that fullness doesn't come unless you have valleys as well as the mountains. And I understand that. There's ups and there's downs in this life, but my life is very full. When I'm going through those valleys, my faith holds me and gives me the support and gives me the strength that I need to continue on and to press forward, and because I know that my God is always with me and takes me through those things. I don't do things that I as much as I enjoy having fun and pushing the edge and trying new things and everything else. I don't do things that are that I think would bring shame to my God or to who I am and my faith. I don't do things that are counter. There again, in the bar, when I'm singing in the bars, I am there, not drinking. I am there to perform. And so when I go into the bar, part of the thing that, and I just did a show last night. And it was a pizza place, but they serve alcohol and different things there. And I know several other artists who have been there and who have done some things. And I know most of the other artists, if their show starts at 6:30, they get there at 6:25. And they set up, so their show doesn't really start at 6:30. It starts maybe 6:40, 6:45, and and then they order a pizza and order their alcohol, and so during the show, they're stopping and they're doing this. Now, maybe that's unique to Alaska, but to me, that's not why I'm there. I'm there to provide entertainment for the people, and I'm going to do the very best that I can. But not just because I want to give the fans something, but because I believe that's what God would have me do. Because I'm going to show up early, get my stuff set up, be ready to go. So when 6:30 rolls around, man, at 6:30 the music starts. Yeah. And it's a 2-hour concert, so I don't stop until 8:30, and I don't take a 15-20 minute break in the middle and do this. But it's not just work ethic. It's my faith that gives me that ethic to continue on, and then to be the right and then to treat the staff correctly and to acknowledge them and let them know that I'm thankful for them being there that night, and let the crowd, those type of things. So it's in how I treat people. It's in how and all those things are dictated because of my faith. Mm-hmm. Not dictated, but I want to be careful. Not dictated. It's not. He hasn't dictated that, but I'm living out the example of my faith. Yeah. That's a better way to say it. And so many times people get caught up in rules and regulations, and that's really not what faith is about. That's really not what Christianity is about. It really is not. Christianity is about living that abundant life and knowing what it really boils down to is knowing where I'm going to spend eternity. And that's what my faith does for me. But in that, it also gives me guidelines for the rest of my life. And I'd love to say that I live it out all the time, but there's times where I fail and I mess up. But when I do that, I try to come back and I confess those things and try to continue on. So it's a part of it's more than just it's more than just a lifestyle. It's part of my life, and I can't separate. So I don't separate my music from my faith. I don't separate my family from my faith. My faith is first, and underneath that comes my family. Underneath that comes my country. Underneath that comes my music and the career. And if I keep those things in the proper perspective and the proper order, I think I'm doing God. I'm doing right as much as I can, and I don't. And it's not based upon my goodness. My faith is not based upon who I am. It's all based upon what God has done for me, and so that's when I start looking at it that way, it just dictates every area. It guides me in every area of my life.
Ooh, I'm talking to a real human being. I love it. Doug, we only have a few minutes to go, so I'm going to ask you to do me one favor, just since we're roughly about 7 minutes out. Can you tell us a little bit about your life growing up? I know you said you did a lot of traveling and did a lot of stuff like that, so tell us about that, and then, if you wouldn't mind, wrap that up with something that you would like to give us, and then I'm going to tell people about your websites, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Growing up, I grew up in Southern California, and my family was not rich, but we did a little bit of traveling here and there. But our family vacations, we'd go over to Catalina Island and that type of thing. When I got to college, that's whenever I did a lot of traveling, because I traveled with a quartet and with a group, and that's when I did a lot of traveling, was with a singing group for the college, and did that, and I had a lot of fun doing that. It was really awesome. I just got back from Oklahoma, and while I was in Oklahoma, two of the guys that I used to sing with, and one of them was actually my roommate, and I haven't seen these guys for close to 30 years. It's been 27 years.
That's close to 30.
Yeah, 26 years. 26 years, and I haven't seen these guys, and but we've stayed in contact all these years. We phone each other, we Facebook, email, and all that, MySpace, all the fun stuff. We've kept in good contact through the years. But I got to see two of them while I was down there, and do that. And so, just a lot of fun. So, and just see where they're at in their lives and what they're doing. And it was just, it was really cool. So, some of the traveling stuff, we traveled all over the United States, singing and doing some of that. I've had the opportunity to go over to Italy with my son, who's in the Air Force. I went to Italy with him, and got to go to Rome and Florence and do some of those things. And my wife and I have been down to Mexico a couple times, and absolutely love it down there. But most of my traveling was actually done in college, when I was singing with the quartet there. Mm-hmm. Words of wisdom, man. It goes back to a conversation we had earlier on. If you want something, and you really want it, you've got to do your best to get it. And that doesn't mean just expecting someone to give it to you. That doesn't mean going out and being demanding. It means going out and doing the very best at that you can. I saw a video on YouTube or something, on Facebook, not too long ago, where you can become. If I don't care what it is that you want to become, whatever your passion is. If your passion is painting fence posts, practice, become the best fence post painter that you possibly can. And if you become the best one in the world, you'll start making money at it. Mm-hmm. People will come to you. And so as a musician, from the musical side of it, practice your craft. Get out there, take voice lessons, know how to control your instrument, know breath support, know those type of things, and work with it to become the very best that you can, and then stick with it. Don't give up on your dream just because someone else tells you that they don't think that you're good. Mm-hmm. For every 100, for every yes that you hear, you're going to hear about 100 no's. And that's just the numbers. And now, if you get to 100, don't give up at 100. Don't give up at 101. Keep going on, because eventually, if you're good and if you've put the time in and the practice in, someone will eventually say yes. And those are the moments that you're living for, is those yes opportunities and to press forward with. Oh, that's what you're shooting for. And eventually, if you really work hard at it and you hone your craft and you try to stay up with it and you're doing these things, eventually what happens, it's kind of cool. The no's start being outweighed, and all of a sudden yeses are going to start outweighing the no's. Oh, yeah. But you've got to. It's not an instant thing. We live in such an instant society. We've got American Idol and Voice and all those things, and I think they're great. They're great programs. They've done a lot for music, and America's Got Talent and Britain's Got Talent. They've done some great things and discovered some great people. Mm-hmm. But that's the rarity. That's the exception to the rule of hard work and dedication to get to that point. Yeah. Don't forget the hard work and dedication.
Yeah. It's one of those things, and I'm going to quit this one real quick. Even with the interview with Susan Boyle, they were doing this interview, actually a program about Susan Boyle. That was the one who came on and wowed the world. And they were talking about that even Susan knew when she had lost the first time that she went through as being, I think it was a second person, she knew that in this case, she says, if she didn't pass and go on from there, because they actually encouraged her to stay on. She lost the one, but she came back and then won the second one, and she's been a worldwide phenomenon since then. But she said she knew that she was afraid to lose it, because if she loses it, you disappear right back into obscurity like so many others before her had done. You can't accept no, because it's going to hurt for a while, but life isn't about I've been hit and I stay down. It's about I've been hit, now I get back up, I brush myself off. It may take you a little time to get your momentum going, but you have to get up and keep going.
Yeah.
So, Doug, we have to end the show here, and I do want to thank you for this. And if once you get into Nashville and you get a little popular, whatever, you settled in, whatever, if you want to do another show, you're more than welcome to come back here. I hate that expression, more than welcome. You are very welcome to come back and do another show here. For Doug, I just want to emphasize his website, which is Doug Briney, BRINEY.com, and he has a Facebook page, and if you know how to do this, we'll do it real quick, Facebook/DB Songs, DBSONGS. You'll find all this information there. So, Doug, thank you once again for being here, and you're always welcome to come back to the show.
I appreciate it, and thank you. You have a great night.
Thanks, you too. Be well, and I wish you the best on your move.
I appreciate it.
Okay, be well. Thank you for joining us here on Your Thoughts, Your Reality Radio. please make a note to join us again on our next broadcast. For more information, visit our website at www.ytyrradio.tk. That's www.ytyrradio.tk. Our theme music is Soul Controlled by VO Crew under a Creative Commons License 3.0. See our website for more information.